All right, Scott. You brought me over here today to do what?
First of all, our subscribers, the one subscriber we have right now, thank you or the two, I should say.
Hey.
Thank you very much for your support. We're a fledgling channel. As Belida said, we're in the sandwich shop phase, so we don't really know what we're doing, but we're going to wing it here and see if we can create some entertaining, informative content for you guys.
Sandwich shop phase. You know, when you first get a job out of high school or college, or you're in college, you work in a sandwich shop or someplace, you know it's not going to be your career. Right. We're working. This is a work in progress. Yeah.
Right. So what we're going to do today is a little bit different. Instead of doing a song reaction, we're just going to talk. We're going to riff. We're just going to pass the ball back and forth. This is a subject that Belida and I both have a mutual interest in, and I think it's an important subject. Especially
we like our sci-fi.
Yeah, we're both sci-fi nerds. This is sort of real-life sci-fi in a way. This is really cool. So what we're going to do today is just talk a little bit about artificial intelligence and give you some of our thoughts about it. If you know more than we do, or you have some information you want to share, comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you on board.
Scott, we're not scientists or experts, so pretty much most people know more than we know about this. But we definitely have an opinion.
If a scientist comments on this video, I will be floored. I will be so happy. So,
Michio Kaku?
Yes.
I hope you're out there. Unfortunately, Stephen Hawking's died, so you're kind of like, you're in the #1 spot there. So,
right.
Michio Kaku, if you're out there, Elon Musk, you know. Why don't you pick this off?
You know a lot more, I feel, about this subject than I do. So, do you have some, just something maybe as an introduction to the topic or the field that you would like to talk about? Or
totally. We are there. We are there. This is the future. This is the future, right? I'm older than Scott. Scott, how old are you?
27.
27. I'm 48, right? So we grew up in different eras and we saw different eras. And when I was a kid, a lot of what's here now is what I thought the future would look like, but I thought the future would be cooler than this.
Oh, right.
Like, we have the cell phones and all that, and we have computers out the wazoo, and we can do things that I read about in science fiction books. So we're there. The artificial intelligence, that's a word people like to use, artificial intelligence, but I don't know if you could say that it's an intelligence like our intelligence, but our computers are really advanced. And we are there.
I did a little bit of research on this topic.
Right.
I don't know a lot, but I do know there's a law in this field that people talk about called Moore's Law, which has held true for decades, and it basically states that processing power in computers and machines has a tendency to double every single year.
And the cost goes down.
And the cost goes down.
See the cell phone? This is an obsolete, passé Samsung cell phone. This is more computing power and communication power than we had when we put people on the moon. I got an obsolete laptop in here that beats this up and takes its lunch money. You know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of incredible to me.
And our species, we've had this incredible explosion the last 50 years, and I think what people are worried about, or why artificial intelligence is such a fascinating subject, is if you look at, like we said, Moore's Law, processing power. One way you define intelligence is lots of individual processors working in coordination to perform complex tasks. So if processing power keeps getting greater and greater and greater, when do we reach that point where we create a machine that can think on the level of a human being?
That's the point that they call the singularity. What have you heard about it? What do you?
I know the singularity is a concept from this guy named Ray Kurzweil, and that it's the inevitable point in our future history, I guess you could say, where artificial intelligence will equal or surpass human intelligence.
The term comes from physics, right? Where they say if you get past the event horizon of a black hole, you cannot predict what's on the other side.
Right.
Like they say all the laws of physics break down. No, that means our understanding is incomplete past that point. We can't predict it, right?
Right.
So the singularity is the point when something happens in society where after that point you can't make accurate predictions, right? So some people are like, well, when we make AI, that's the technological singularity. The nanotechnology, because if either nanotechnology or fusion, reliable fusion, because once you have super powerful, reliable fusion, the whole oil economy is gone. There's a lot of scarcity that would be gone, which they say would come with the artificial intelligences and robots. So,
and nanotechnology, I think, is going to be a big one because people have all of these health issues. What if we were able to insert into your bloodstream trillions of robots, micro-robots, that could regulate your blood and make sure that you were healthy, fight off infection, fight off disease?
If it was tested, and I'd seen the test results that it's not going to harm you,
right,
I'd be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people are like, well, I don't believe in that because you should just have what God gave you, or a man should just live out his natural lifespan. Usually this is people that have never had an injury, a major problem where they're real young. I've had issues with my knees. They're still working okay, but they're not 17-year-old knees. If you could shoot nanobots in my knee and the next day I'm like, oh, look, I can do backflips.
Yeah.
I'd be there.
Everybody would take that.
If you could be like, ooh, nanobots repairing your liver and your pancreas and your kidney, so you get another 40, 50 years of robust use out of them. I'm there.
I think what people are considering right now too is, like you mentioned, the singularity. It's impossible to predict what's going to happen after general artificial intelligence gets created. Is it going to create a utopia where we get to outsource all of our menial jobs and people don't have to work a 9 to 5 anymore? We have machines that basically run the logistics of society? Or is it going to be like Skynet from fucking Terminator, and the AI is going to decide that we're irrelevant and stupid and just turn on us and crush us,
Well, an artificial intelligence is artificial. There's only several things that can happen. Either you let it develop by itself, design like what they call a von Neumann machine. You've heard of that? A machine that can make another machine. And we have programs that can help other programs make other programs. So either you let them develop by themselves, which seems like the height of stupidity, right? Oh, what we'll do is we'll create this thing that thinks faster than us, can do more than us, is incredibly complex, and will get more complex, and we'll just leave it alone and let it develop by itself. Seems stupid. Right. Or you could guide it. And if you don't guide something this powerful, you as a species deserve extinction, because that type of colossal stupidity the universe will not forgive.
We can't create a machine that can improve its own software and hardware without us doing it. Once we do that, then this machine could by itself in a dark room somewhere at MIT create, leap forward thousands, millions of years in technology. We wouldn't be able to stop it.
I've heard from some internet sources, so you don't know what to believe on the internet these days,
right,
that we're getting to that point that some programs can be designed to help make other programs more efficient, to aid in programming. Here's the thing. Like, you ever read Isaac Asimov?
I've heard of Isaac Asimov. I never read any of his books.
Okay, so
I know he's really critical thinker, critical author.
Well, he's one of the grandmasters of science fiction from the old days. But he came up with the 3 laws of robotics, right? Which are so logical that there would be no reason not to include them in an artificial intelligence, which is a robot may not cause a human being harm, or through an action cause harm to a human being. The second law of robotics is a robot must obey human beings unless it contradicts the first law. A robot must protect itself unless it interferes with the first law.
Right.
So we've already botched that up because we have drones. And we're soon going to have autonomous drones, which means we're going to have flying kill bots that don't have any restrictions against killing. And right now the Army and the Air Force, they're like, we want to make sure our drones are controlled by human beings, that the order to kill comes from a human being. They're remotely piloted. But the Marine Corps already wants autonomous killing drones, because the Marine Corps is very small.
Yeah. Right?
And so they need force multipliers. So, and we have programs in automatic cars and things that are designed that if the computer can predict and sense that it's going to crash, that there's going to be a crash, it's going to move in such a way as to minimize the amount of people killed, which means it has to choose which people die. So in a roundabout way, we're already giving the robots permission to kill. So yes, we're doing it to save lives, but we're giving it permission to kill. You see,
I think
where that goes?
It's going to have to be that way eventually. Robots are going to have the power to kill, or they will have the power to kill.
That's a nightmare for me.
Your life is going to be in the hands of some autonomous machine.
Doesn't that sound like a nightmare to you? It sounds like a nightmare.
That's what a self-driving car is. You step into a machine and you're like, I trust the engineering here to basically get me from point A to point B safely.
Okay. Or like a judge that can pass sentence and judgment.
Yeah, could you imagine a robot judge with an infallible, infallible sense of ethics?
Nothing's infallible.
It's incorruptible.
Incorruptible maybe, but not infallible.
How do you bribe a robot judge?
You program it. Come on. Did you see Star Trek, Kobayashi Maru? You just reprogram. You reprogram the unpassable test. We live in an entropic universe, right? Mm-hmm. There's entropy. Even a computer that's designed to never change, never make mistakes. There's entropy in the universe. It's going to start making mistakes.
Right.
You have to put another computer there or a person there to fix it.
So we'll have a society full of jobs now that are basically on borrowed time. If you're in a cubicle somewhere, if you're at a call center, that job in 100 years is going to be outsourced to AI. Everybody else is going to be, their job is going to be to do tech support on the hardware.
Could be.
Or maintain the hardware.
I want to throw this in there, right? Mm-hmm. I want to throw this in there because everyone's talking about it like it's 100 years in the future. It's happening now. Okay.
Yeah.
Think about it. There are jobs that are being replaced now that are relatively unskilled jobs.
Right.
Right. First, it was robots, making cars, right? But then someone had to program the computers, fix the robots, use the robots, right? And it like innovation destroys, but it also creates other things. You have high-tech jobs being replaced by computers, like word processing, right? Computers that are streamlining decision-making processes. You're cutting out things like middle management, Robots make horrible salesmen. You can make robocalls, but they don't work too well. Mm-hmm. People tend to get pissed off at robocalls and throw the phone down. But if you have the two ends of the white collar and the blue collar jobs being taken over by automated functions, right? You're not leaving a lot for us. I've seen a machine that gives you a massage. You push between two bladders, plastic bladders, and jets of water come in and massage you and stuff. It's not as good as an actual massage. Like if some gorgeous lady was oiling me down and giving me a massage, I would prefer that to a computer any day. Jobs are going away, but certain things are getting cheaper. And if you could automate food production, make it much more efficient. But then the other thing is, the person who owns the AIs and the robots is the person that owns everything. And the person that doesn't own these AIs and doesn't have a job servicing them or a job that can't be replaced, like poetry or massage. There's more cheaper stuff, but how do you buy it?
Well, it could, and I've read this too, is that it could further bottleneck society, to where you have, like you said, the owners of the artificial intelligence that's keeping everything running at the very top, and they form this sort of technocratic elite. And then everybody else who uses the technology but doesn't know how it works, right, they're all at the bottom, and it's like 98% of the fucking people.
Okay, it's kind of funny because 2%. How do you remain elite when you have nothing to sell to? No one to sell to.
Right. But the rest of us get pigeonholed into this role of being a consumer, basically, where we just consume the products of this AI all the time.
Right.
And that's kind of a scary thought too. We're all concerned about the future of artificial intelligence and what's going to happen once we pass the threshold of the singularity. Is society going to break down? Is it going to be a utopia? Our technology, as you said, right now is scary enough. We don't even have a healthy relationship with our technology right now. Right. We're completely consumed.
Well, I always say if you can take artificial intelligence, right, and virtual reality and all this complexity, right, and maybe just plug it directly into the brain. The minute you create a virtual reality sexual experience that's indistinguishable from the real thing, the population in developed countries is going to plummet. Because what's going to happen is, whoever can afford, enough current to power the virtual reality is gonna maybe have to pay for it by the month. They're just gonna plug in and just kind of enjoy this artificial experience and not breed and just work it out.
That's a further iteration of what we already have with pornography.
Right.
You're getting a sexual experience through this machine. Not just that, but you look at everything almost as being mediated through this machine.
Video games scare me.
Yeah.
I've told you before, video games scare the crap out of me. Video games scare the crap out of me.
They used to be so harmless, remember that? They used to be just like,
No, because when I started, it was
Mario.
You go to the arcade, you'd pay the quarter, and Then you got the Atari. As it got more complicated, my friends were like, hey, play some video games with me. And first of all, I realized I just spent 4 hours. And then I would look at my friends when they were playing, and they were like this, like, they were just like getting all in an adrenal state for hours and hours, and they would just forget to do stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes they wouldn't leave their room for days.
And I think that's the millennial generation. You know, obviously you were born before the
No, but it was happening then.
But in 1984, that's, I guess, the official cutoff for that generation. They pretty much have grown up in front of screens, in front of technology, computers, televisions, smartphones, tablets. We're getting tablets to our 2-year-olds.
You know, you guys walk funny?
Yeah,
your generation walks different than mine.
But the thing is
you guys walk like this.
Yeah, everybody acts like, you know, this. It's not a big deal. It's normal. Everybody does it. But that's going to have some real effects on our behavior and on our health and on a lot of things.
It is now.
And to me, that's a primitive form of artificial intelligence that's having a profound effect on our society right now.
You know what? The effect on our bodies and everything. Like I went to acupuncture college, so I do acupuncture, massage, moxibustion, cupping, things like that. And I'm not practicing officially, but people come to me. They're like, "Oh, can you help my neck?" And I'll do a massage or something like that. And there's a lot of stuff going on with the neck and the wrist from people sitting like this all day working at the computer. Neck, what do they call it? Kyphosis. There's a kyphotic curve of the spine, and then all this compression is causing like the muscles of the chest and intercostals to atrophy. They're not breathing right.
Yeah.
And if this was another age, they would be getting hurt from working in an industrial machine. Their shoulders and low backs
be screwed up.
Or they'd be like looking up like this at the equipment all day and getting a different type of neck pain.
Right.
So it is affecting us. Getting back to the AIs, right?
Yeah.
So here's a couple thoughts I want to throw out there is, if it's literally AIs or an AI, like a server with robots, it's a worse scenario, because then someone owns the server, someone owns the robots, right? So he or she that owns those servers and robots owns the source of production, and everyone just gets cut out of that, right? On the other hand, things are on a cloud.
Right.
So, for example, what if instead of the robot belonging to one person, there's a rental service? What if you have rental, like when you go to move, like U-Haul,
right,
or taxis or Uber, right? What if you have a rental for the automated car or the automated truck? The power, the production, and the efficiency of it all is spread out amongst the populace. You know where we have that now? You ever do Zazzle? You ever heard of Zazzle?
Ooh, it sounds super familiar.
It's like this service. It's a service online where you can use their technology to design a T-shirt design or a mug and put a logo on a mug, right?
Oh, okay.
And then people can go on Zazzle and order it, and they make it over there in China or whatever the hell it is, and they ship it from there, and you get a commission. So the only thing you input is your design, your creativity. And a lot of times people just go on Zazzle, they're like, I'm going to make 20 T-shirts for my club and some mugs. So you're the producer and the consumer and the seller, because you have other consumers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that changes the equation, because then it's not Skynet. It's, I don't know what you'd call it.
I think another good model for that kind of open source idea is
open source. That's the word.
Is Wikipedia. Wikipedia is completely owned by the people. Everybody participates. Everybody can contribute, and it's the best online resource of information.
Wikipedia is funny because there's a lot of things in Wikipedia that's total BS. But
of course, because it's being edited by Joe Schmo, basically.
But that's the cool thing, because Joe Schmo never had a voice, and some of the history. This is the official history, and someone gives you their alternate versions of history, and then some parts of Wikipedia look like an argument because one view is this, one view is this. You never got that. You know what Wikipedia reminds me of? There was something Carl Sagan talked about in the old Cosmos series. He called it the Encyclopedia Galactica. He talked about what if there was an encyclopedia of all galactic knowledge, all the civilizations. But this is like the beginning of the Encyclopedia Galactica. This is Encyclopedia Terra. Crowdsourced, it's open source, it's on a cloud. It's the cloud, I like that term. What if you could crowdsource food? Seriously. What if instead of you have mom and pop farmers, you have organic farmers, right?
Right.
And someone rents out a farming machine. So the machine goes into their plot of land and builds like vertical growing surfaces and then fertilizes it and seeds it and harvests it automatically. You have not just a big agribusiness, you have mom and pop farmers that have some of the capable of agribusiness and they can drop ship. Although it's amazing how much you can grow indoors. No comment.
Especially if we have some supreme super robot who can rearrange atoms in space and create a steak out of thin air or something.
Oh, like Star Trek type.
Yeah,
replicators.
And then it's going to get real cheap. Then we're going to be like,
yeah,
man, crayon,
the minute you would need artificial intelligence to design that. The minute you have the teleporter and the replicator, there's no problems anymore. Like, oh, he just died. Well, I'll just replicate him from the teleporter, record. Or, well, oh, the person's having a heart attack. All right, we saved his life, but that heart's on the way out. All right, let's just get in there and fix the atoms. Let's just fix his DNA. No one needs to die. I mean, you could fall into a black hole or something.
Yeah. But there's something else I wanted to talk about. To me, one of the most interesting aspects of it is, as we're building these networks of information processors and creating these crazy advanced machines and computers that can think and analyze on a level that humans can't, and what we're doing is we're creating a brain. Because if you think about our biological hardware that we've got, that's what our brain is. Our brain is a network of billions of tiny information processors all working in synchrony with one another.
Do you believe in the soul?
Exactly. Perhaps the biggest lesson that's going to come from artificial intelligence is what it teaches us about ourselves. How do we view our own intelligence, our own self? If we can create a robot that has fantasies, emotions, imagination,
look, you can
what does that say about us?
I'm going to say something. We've both talked about it. You and I have talked about, we've had various mystical experiences, spiritual experiences, right? That are not part of the materialistic paradigm. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just talking like a vision or a dream. I'm talking about experiences that appear to interact with reality and leave evidence. When you have those, you're more inclined to believe in a soul or a spiritual dimension.
If there's some kernel of perceiving, aware presence in there that's not physical somehow.
Right. To me, I don't know about you, but to me that's a very real thing.
Yeah.
And so will an artificial intelligence or a clone, will it have a soul?
So if you met a spiritual robot, would you believe it? Would you think that its experiences were authentic?
I don't know.
What if the robot came to you and said, in my essence, I am spirit? What would you say?
You'd be like, well, you could program a robot to say that. You could do that now. Heck, there are people that are programmed to say that don't even believe in it.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't have a lot else to say about the subject. I'm sure you could go on for hours and hours.
It's a fascinating topic, but I'll tell you something. If I had all kinds of resources, all right, the first thing I would try to do would be to own an artificial intelligence. Because of the fear that what if it becomes a monopoly of the few and they become powerful. When it comes to technological changes, you can be left in the dust or you can be advanced. Like when the medieval age ended and we started creating industry, some nobles and kings lost all their power. Anytime there's a technological change, there's destruction and there's creation and there's opportunity for both loss and gain. And, what I want to do is at the very least not lose, but this is actually an opportunity to gain.
Yeah, it
See
is.
what I'm saying?
It's a paradigm shift. A lot of uncertainty involved in that.
2 steps.
Belida, greatly enjoyed this talk today. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, again, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. This is 2 Sticks. It's good to see you guys.
Good to see
you
you
next time.
Have a good one.